Welcome back to Market Headlines. The government, through the Minister of the State-Owned Enterprises, Erick Thohir, plans to form a state-owned tourism holding. Due to the plan, Survey Udara Penas will be appointed as a holding company.
The government, through Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs, has confirmed to extend the economic stimulus. In the official statement, the minister mentioned that stimulus such as social assistance, salary subsidy, people's business loans, pre-work cards, and corporation support are confirmed to be extended until the first quarter of 2021.
Beberapa program terkait dengan pemulihan ekonomi, apakah itu terkait dengan program KUR ataupun subsidi lainnya, nanti kita akan lanjutkan di kuartal pertama di tahun 2021. Jadi dengan demikian support daya beli tetap di 2021, baik itu subsidi KUR maupun terkait dengan kartu prakerja, maka itu akan memberikan nafas bagi masyarakat untuk menjaga daya beli yang ada.
With the extension of this stimulus, it is hoped that people's purchasing power will be maintained so that in 2021 the Indonesian economy will be boosted and in accordance with the government's target to grow positively after in the third quarter of 2020 Indonesia's GDP contracted and entered a recession. From Jakarta, Muhammad Olga for IDX Channel.
And yes, viewers, as the government has taken steps to execute the plan to form a tourism holding company, how is the progress so far? And which state-owned enterprises will join this holding? So let's see our review and the following infographics. Through your screen, you can see the first one in here. We can see the structure of tourism and supporting sector holdings. First of all, we can see Survey Udara Penas, that is as a holding company. And then the second one is that we can have the sector lining here. We got Angkasa Pura 1, Angkasa Pura 2, Garuda Indonesia, the listed company of the National Carrier Airlines. And also we got Ina Hotels and Resort, PT Sarina, Indonesia Tourism Development Corporations, and also Taman Wisata Candi. And we can make sure that the Survey Udara Penas is the holding company among of all. And then the Minister of SOE, Erick Thohir, has appointed Survey Udara Penas as the tourism holding company. The minister revealed that the reason behind the appointment of Penas is as a holding company. The first reason is 100% ownership by the government, and the second one is that the Penas has a high degree of organizational restructuring flexibility, whereas the total employees are only 5 people and 1 subsidiary. Then the transformations of Penas as a holding company will be easier and more concise. And as stated in the first graphic, Penas will become the holding company for the other 7 SOEs. And so viewers, with the appointment of the holding members, what is the government's objective in establishing this holding? And the answer is in the next graphic. Through the next graphic, you can see the purpose of tourism holding establishment in here. So here it is. We can see the first reason is that to accelerate the inclusive economic and human resources development. And the second one is that to develop the national and global connectivity. And the third reason is that probably the business and market expansions, which is the market expansions, one that really put in a highlight by the government. And the fourth one is that market and operational advantages that can be taken by holding establishment itself. And the fifth one is that portfolio management optimizations. And then establishments of the tourism holding and its supporting sectors is targeted for the completions next year. The presence of the holding is expected to accelerate the economic recovery in this sector. In addition, it is hoped that these establishments of the tourism holding will facilitate the coordinations between the SOEs. And of course, the establishments of the tourism holding is expected not only to pursue efficiency, but to advance the tourism industry and strengthen the SOE in aviation industry. And of course, not to forget, the holding must also be able to create a healthy level of demand for the whole holding members. After going through the initial stage, what are the next stage of establishings of the tourism holding? Let's find it out in the next graphic. Through your screen, we can see the portfolio restructuring in here. This is the second stage of holding establishment. First of all, we got 4 clusters in here. The airport cluster, which is included of Angkasa Pura I and Angkasa Pura II and Pelita Air Service. And the third one is that the destinations management clusters, which is ITDC, Taman Wisata Candi, Indah Hotel Resorts, Aerowisata, and Garuda Indonesia Holiday France. And then the fourth one, which is the last one, which is aviation services and logistic cluster. We got Gapura Angkasa, Angkasa Pura Solusi, GMF AeroAsia, Garuda Indonesia Cargo, Angkasa Pura Cargo, Aero Express, Angkasa Pura Supports, Aerofood ACS, and also Sarina. And in the second stage, the clustering process will be carried out, and the Ministry of State-Owned Enterprises will pull out several Garuda Indonesia subsidiaries as a consequence for the formations of the tourism holding. And then the Garuda Indonesia subsidiaries that will be pulled out include Aerowisata, Garuda Indonesia Holiday France, Aerofood ACS, and Gapura Angkasa. And later, the Garuda Indonesia subsidiaries will become members of the cluster, which will be formed in a portfolio restructuring phase, which will be carried out in 2021 to 2022. And in the middle of the holding establishment process, how are the responses from the prospective holding members? So let's go to the next graphic to see what's the statements behind of that. And through your screen, we can see the responses from the members of the tourism holding. The first one is that from the President Director of Garuda Indonesia, which is Irfan Setiaputra. He said, all ecosystems are being reviewed by the Ministry of State-Owned Enterprises team, and of course, we hope that this synergy can provide better growth for the company. And then the second statement is that from the President Director of Angkasa Pura II, which is Muhammad Awaluddin. He said in the statement that holding creates a single coordination development of the master plan and integrates the advantages of each state-owned enterprises and these holding ecosystem so that the existing potential can be optimized to advance the tourism industry in Indonesia. And of course, the holding members have stated their readiness. And yes, this readiness, including in the terms of the technical preparations for the completions of the holding. But however, at the same time, the observer of the aviation industry, Gary Sujatman, expressed his opinion that this plan must be carefully considered its impact on the private airlines. The reason is, having state-owned airlines and airports in one holding carries risk from a competitiveness point of view. And therefore, private airlines need a guarantee that the existence of this holding will not have an impact on the service for the private players. And as viewers, hopefully Indonesia's tourism holding can become an integrated ecosystem which offers a combination of attractive tourism destinations, attractive accommodations, and also competitive air transportation rates. And stay tuned on market headlines because we will be right back after this quick break.